Hello, my name is Jennifer Faith, and this is a report on a school board meeting that I reviewed for class EDTE 3308, and it is December 2nd. So some things that I looked out for, the school board meeting that I was able to watch, I watched it on YouTube. And I found that really helpful because I did not feel like I could retain the information sitting in on a live board meeting, even though I knew that I could go back in. Now all of them are recorded, but it was really helpful for me knowing that I could just right then and there rewind it and be able to try to listen in for the things that I was supposed to be listening particularly for. So I listened to Kern High School's school board. They talked about a lot of numbers, but the number that I got for approximate number of students was around 500,000, and their grade levels would be from 9th grade till to seniors, including EL and special needs students. There was a lot of people that came on and talked, and they didn't all introduce themselves, so for me that was a little bit confusing, and because the video was propped at an angle, I couldn't always figure out who was talking, and so that was a little bit difficult. But the one thing that I thought was super interesting was all of the different topics that were brought up and how they were handled. I thought that they all handled themselves very well. Like they clearly have worked, most of them have all worked with each other. It looked like there was about 5 different board members. I could be wrong on that. Because again, I watched it a few different times to try to figure it out, but I saw some people were coming to the podium, and I'm guessing those are people that are addressing different issues. And I think those were like the teachers and stuff, so that's from what I understood from our reading as well. The board members are the ones sitting back and kind of addressing whether the issue needs to be furtherly questioned or addressed or not. But it's super interesting to watch during this pandemic time when they're talking about things that, you know, our students are having to go through and things that they're trying to implement in order to make our students' lives better. They were talking about bringing back different sports and why certain sports just didn't make sense with the California states governing. And a lot of that was super fascinating to watch and just kind of watch these people who make the big decisions for our school districts, but also to see that there are people who are willing to put their causes forward to these board meetings to be addressed. I noticed at the end they were talking about the lack of teachers right now, and that they have pretty high salaried teachers, but it's not being addressed like it had been in the past. Being a teacher was one of the speakers was saying that it used to be a highly sought after career, and now the percentage of people going into credential programs or seeking further education and becoming a teacher has decreased by a lot. I thought that was interesting, and he was bringing up different valid points on how to promote people to become teachers, and I believe that too, because when I talk to people and I tell them that I'm a teacher and that I'm working towards being able to work in a public school, because I currently work at a private school, usually my response is, "Oh, wow, that's a tough job," or something like that. But you know, there is a much bigger picture to them it being a tough job. So not only did they address like the sporting issues that I was talking about, they were talking about the amount of kids in order to do the cohorts to follow the guidelines that the state of California and Kern County are implementing for schools to start reopening. And I thought that was super interesting to see. Just, we hear everything on the news, but to hear, these people who are much, in some aspects, higher educated in these subjects to speak on it in regards to our students is pretty impactful for me. But I did see them joking around a lot, and they but in a very nice way. So to me, it made me feel like if I was ever one of the speakers presenting something to a board member, it would not make me, too terrified to be able to speak my mind and to be able to address certain issues that may be going on, or questions that may be addressed by the board members in response to whatever problems I'm addressing. But yeah, I thought it was really cool. I would love to be able to sit in on one once, our COVID goes on, because I can feel the dynamic just from the video. It seems just like an open area for open ideas, and I think that's so important for education, and just being able to present new ideas, especially as our time here on Earth progresses and so many things are continuously changing, because they have board meetings once a month, and I did see on their website that Kern County actually had a special board meeting in July that wasn't on their little docket. So I'd imagine, especially now that COVID, they probably have maybe these meetings are a little bit longer than normal. I don't know. That's what I would be guessing, because I looked at several of them, and a lot of them were like an hour and something, but this one was like an hour and 35 minutes. But I didn't again investigate too much on the time frame of it. But I did feel like it was a very enjoyable assignment, and yeah.